Hey there, another video about the 2.8 V6 saab. Today doing a fuel pump. So it's a Walbro 450 litres per hour fuel pump. There is two versions with two different part numbers, so make sure you order the right one. It's this one here, it's F90000274. That's the correct one with a pressure relief valve, and it doesn't fail straight away. The other one seems to cause problems, so yeah, that's the correct one to get. On this one here, yeah, can't always be bothered to take the exhausters off, plus also it's nice to have access to this area. So on this one today, I'm going to cut a hole in the chassis. Unfortunately there's no access panel from the factory, so I started marking out where to drill. So this actual panel is a separate panel that's welded on, it's spot welded on, so this one comes off and then there's a flat skin which we're going to then cut a hole in. So I've just marked out where these spot welds are all the way around, and there's a couple in the middle as well. These ones are on the outside, you have to scrape it away to actually identify exactly where it is before we start drilling. So I'm going to do that in a moment, but I thought I'd mark it out and show you where they roughly are before I proceed. Yes, I just dug away at the sound deadening stuff that's there, and you can now clearly see the spot welds. There's one there, there's one just there as well, so I'm now going to have to drill those out. So get in there now, so you've got the two at the front, there's two in the middle there, two on the sides, one here, and then at the back there is two. There's one hidden under here, I didn't show that earlier on, so I'm going to drill that one in a moment. But these two are very, very close. The fuel tank is literally just under there, only a few millimetres, so hold on to your drill with two hands and make sure you don't drill through, and obviously go at a very slow speed because obviously you don't want to puncture the tank. Right, this is it off now. So I had to use a Stanley knife and cut around the sound deadening stuff that's on there, the bitumen. It was 7mm for the holes, and even then they were a little tight. I just got a thin chisel and just knocked it in just to break the last little bits of each of the welds, but 7mm was enough. And then that's what we're presented with. We've got this skin here, so now we need to cut a hole in here. So I used this is just an old fuel pump ring, so I draw around it. I measured it from side to side, it's 160mm. So if you get yourself a compass and do a circle 160 to 170mm, I will picture in a moment exactly where I'm going to draw this line and measure how far that is as well, so give you an idea of where the fuel pump is. Anyway, I've marked it out, so I'm using that hole that's there as a centre reference point of the hole. The last one I actually did it, my line went across here, but the fuel pump was about an inch further back. That's why I've changed it this time, so I'm using that as a centre point. Okay, and that was, yes, 165mm is the exact diameter of that, so yeah, 165, 170mm, and that should do the trick. So I'm all covered up in here so you don't get sparks all over the seats. I'm just using a Dremel with a little easy click cutting discs. Might take 2 or 3 cutting discs, but I just cut through a little bit at a time in a circle, and eventually it'll fall off. Right, we're in now. So there you go, nicely cut little circle, and it's perfectly aligned there for the fuel pump. So you've just got the one pipe to disconnect, one connector, and then a big metal ring. Just use a hammer and a screwdriver on one of these lips to knock it around and get it off, and then the pump will come out. Right, so I've got the lid up now. So the lid comes off quite easily. There's a little push fit connector here, and then these two electrical connectors come off, and then that lid will just come off and out of the way. And to actually release the fuel pump assembly, the fuel level float stays there. There's actually a separate basket underneath, and that stays attached. You don't undo that. You just press these little tabs. There's 1, 2, 3, and I think there's a fourth one just here. And then this basket will lift out, and the lower basket stays in there with a level float on there. One more pipe fitting needs to come off, is that one there, and that stays inside the tank. You don't bring that one out, and then the rest of it comes out. So that's my unit there. The strainer, gonna have to give it a good clean. That's really filthy, that is. And there's a picture that I'll upload as well. I had loads of deposits inside the basket on this one. I've used a hand primer pump for a diesel, chucked that down there and sucked out the rest of all the bits, so it's nice and clean inside the basket now. There was loads of bits of worry in there and hair and crap, so that obviously doesn't help matters. So now I've got to separate the pump. This section with these round rings is separates from here, and it's held on with these little grab clips. Now I always mark it so that when we reassemble it, and don't get it at the wrong orientation, just use a pair of pliers and pinch together. Obviously not too much just to snap the thing, but just to release those little teeth, and then the thing will start to lift off, and do them evenly all the way around, and eventually it'll pop off. So you've got to prise off the strainer before the pump will actually release, and to do that I just use the screwdriver, nothing hard about it. So when it comes to pipes and clips and things, they give you some pipe and some clips, but don't use this pipe. A couple of months down the line it all falls apart, kinks, and just causes trouble. So reuse the original factory pipe. Now what I tend to do is I prise open the original factory clip and reuse the original factory clip. You could put an additional one on as well if you know, just to be confident, but this section here that actually slides on is made of plastic. It's not rubber, so it's quite hard to get off. So once you get the clip released, you have to warm this one up with a hairdryer. I probably wouldn't use you know, a heat gun because it'd be too much and melt it, but just warm it up with a hairdryer and then prise the thing off. Right, so next up we've got to remove some tabs inside of here because the fuel pump won't go far enough down because the base of it's too thick. So machine away this piece, this tab, and there's 4 of them around there. I'm using a Dremel with these little reamer pieces on the end. Just came in a kit. It looks like a drill bit, but it's not. It's really good at milling away bits of plastic. Yeah, that's what I use for that. And then on the base, I have to take away a small piece of this because that's the outlet of the pump, and it just sort of sits up tight and you can't get the strainer on. So just I'll take away as much as I can, but I still obviously want strength in the plastic, so I still want a little bit attached. Yeah, there we go. Alright, just marked up some more red bits inside because the pump doesn't sit fully down far enough to actually get the strainer on now. So now I've got to machine away the edges of these pieces that are marked in red as well. Alright then, so on this one the strainer's a bit blocked, and I haven't found a suitable replacement of these ones yet. You know, I don't want to be buying 10 of them, so it does come with a new strainer in the box. Now what I've done, if we use this tab, because this tab is unique, you've got these other 3 normal claw tabs, but this one's got the hole in it. We use that one as a reference point. Now the strainer is normally straight, I've fitted it at this angle. The reason being is inside the lower basket is a little orange valve. You can just see it's actually open at the moment. If you interfere with that, then when you go around corners, the basket will empty and you'll end up with cutting out issues, or won't be able to run it below quarter of a tank and all that gear. So I've put the strainer at an angle this way so it won't touch that and interfere with that whatsoever, so it'll just be stock, which is what we like. Now this new strainer is a little bit longer, so I have test fitted it and it does fit, and it is flexible. It's got like little serrations inside on purpose to bend it. So this is basically, as I install the pump, it's just going to sit like this. But this one flows nice, and this one I can't even blow through it, so that one probably is causing a problem anyway. Right, next up is a couple of little bumpers, I call them. Just made them the thickness of the plastic, cable tied them on. I'm just going to have 2 of them, one so it presses here and one so it just presses here, just to stop the fuel pump from rattling around in that cage. Alright, next up, cut the plug off of the new pump, and then the old wire I cut off the 2 spade terminals, and then we crimp these together. You could solder it, but then obviously you need to heat shrink it, and I don't know about the lastability of heat shrinking fuel. It might dissolve and then short out and cause you some problems. Yeah, so I'd much prefer using these. I know the Walbro, they usually actually supply a couple of these in the kit. This kit didn't come with it, I don't know why, but my last one that I did, it came with some little blue crimps, and that was it. So I just crimped them on and just left it at that. So it's just my pump assembly. It's going to go in this orientation. You can see the filter is off at an angle, which is not going to interfere with that orange valve that I showed you earlier on. So I'm just going to plonk this one back in. As you can see, I reused the original factory clip, and the pipe's back on there nice and tight. There we are, so the pump's back in nice and tight. I had to put a bit of WD-40 around just to, as you were doing the ring up, it tries to twist the whole thing, so a bit of WD-40 helps. And then I put a bit of this beading edge on here. And I'm just going to make up the lid, I'll show you that in a minute. Alright then, so I'll just put a nut and bolt through here and bolt up the round disc on the other side and put on some of that rubber beading edging. Some edging on there again, and I've put in riv nuts. So these are M6 riv nuts, so I had to draw the hole out to 9mm, put some riv nuts in. These ones you can't do because there's like a breather, it's like a big piece of plastic behind it, so it's not deep enough yet actually to put a riv nut in, so maybe like a plastic fir tree clip or maybe a bit of sealant just to seal it up. And the same with these, it's too close to the fuel tank, but the 5 around the hole is perfect, it's not going to go anywhere, is it? There we are, job finished, all bolted down, and as I said, a bit of silicone just to seal up them holes.